Karen Wilson led a very full life before she came to Riverside as a graduate student in the history department. She describes herself as a teacher artist, using her skills as a vocalist, educator, and consultant to develop new curriculum in public schools. But she finally took time out to do something her busy career had so far prevented her from doing: research and study in depth the nature and role of storytelling in both African cultures and among American slaves. I spent some time talking with and shadowing Karen recently and discovered through her performances on campus and in the community how stories from diverse cultures can bring very diverse groups of people together.
What we call today's thing is songs and stories from Anansi's basket. How do we think about peace? Once there was a time, you know, when there were no stories. There were no stories. Not only were there no people walking around telling stories, there was no time after dinner to sit around and talk about your day. There was nothing to say when you walked down the road, because at this time, people had no cars, so there was a lot of walking down a lot of roads, and there were no stories. A story is a unique set of relationships. And within those relationships, people find themselves. There are many ways to set that up. And a narrative takes us often through a process of problem solving. And when we move through this process, we move on many layers. When someone finds himself in a story, the layer that they find themselves on might help them understand something they don't understand, help them, take them through a problem-solving process. We manage that in many different ways. We use lots of different tools to have that happen. One of the tools is song. Because story is multi-layered, song is even more multi-layered. It's like that those Greek pastries that have all these delicate layers. Sometimes they touch and sometimes they open. There's air inside. They crisp and give you things you didn't have before. They're fun. Song and story together are incredibly powerful to have people connect with their own problem solving on lots of layers at once. Anansi, Father Anansi, where are the stories? He said, oh. He always talks a little funny. Oh. they must be with, they're with Nyame, the sky god. He has them all. And he said, why don't you ask Nyame? And they said, oh, all right. So they got up and they did it for real. Nyame, great Nyame, please give us stories. Nothing. So they said, he's not saying anything. What are we supposed to do? And so Anansi says, don't worry, I'll get you stories. Have you ever had one of those moments? Like, oh yes, I'll do it. I'll get you stories. So he went over and he wove a magic ladder up to the sky god's kingdom. He went up to the sky god and he said, great Nyame, please give me stories for the people of this small village. And Nyame said, no. No. Why no? Great towns and cities have asked me for stories and I haven't given them. Why should I give the people of this insignificant village? Oh, well, I tell you what. I will give you anything you ask if you will give me stories for these people. Anything? Anything. He's a little spider talking to a great big guy. All right. I want Onini the python,
Oshebo the leopard, Mortia the fairy.
Anansi says,
Not only will I bring you Onini the python, Mortia, and Oshebo the leopard, I'll throw in my grandmother too.
I understand story to connect in many ways for enslaved people, like universes of experience. Story can connect you to your ancestors. Story can take you over the water. Story can explain what resistance is. And story can give you lots of ways to resist. You can not work. You can rise up and beat the person down who is beating you. You can learn how to keep community even when you're sold far away. Story empowers us. It's a story, you know. I want to provide a multi-layered experience so that everyone in the room can come away, ideally, with something useful, with something good, something they can think about that they perhaps were not thinking about before, or validation for a thought that they had that they thought no one was paying attention to. Story's powerful that way.
I'm gonna sing when the spirit says sing. I'm gonna sing when the spirit says sing. When the spirit says sing, I'm gonna sing right along. I'm gonna sing when the spirit says sing. Come on now. I'm gonna dance when the spirit says dance. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna dance when the spirit says, sometimes it happens. When the spirit says dance, I'm gonna dance right along. I'm gonna dance when the spirit says dance. I'm gonna speak when the spirit says speak. I'm gonna speak when the spirit says speak. When the spirit says speak.
For Karen Wilson, the past continually renews the future for individuals and for cultures through storytelling. Renewed herself by studying how stories moved and evolved from Africa to the New World and how they helped African Americans maintain their identities through adversity, she now brings that sense of renewal to groups throughout Southern California, bringing people together with laughter, with song, but most of all, with stories. This is Jim Brown, reporting from UC Riverside.
I'm gonna sing when the spirit says sing.